All right, folks. So that is a couple minutes past the hour. I imagine folks will still be able to filter in here and whatnot. Just for some general housekeeping, we are going to be recording this session. This is being live streamed on the Suitebriar YouTube channel currently, so you'll be able to find it available there afterwards. We'll be sending out copies of the video, so there'll be plenty of opportunities to catch up on anything in the event that you miss anything or you think that, well, we said something and you wish you had been paying more attention at that exact moment. Please don't worry. We're going to make sure and get this content back in front of you folks as soon as possible. So plenty of opportunities there. But first and foremost, let me just welcome everyone today to the Suitebriar hosted and Google sponsored event, Gemini for Google Workspace. My name is Rob Moore. I'm going to be the host today. A couple of quick items here just to get started. Our agenda for the day, we'll do a few introductions here just to get going with the folks who will be speaking today. We'll move from that into why Google and what is Gen AI. Third, we'll be looking at the value of Suitebriar's partnership. Fourth, we'll be looking at an actual live demonstration hosted by our own Andrew Fantoni. And then fifth, we'll be doing a couple of announcements from Google Cloud Next that just occurred at the beginning of this month in Las Vegas. So hopefully some of you were there, but if you weren't, we'll try and catch you up on some of the things there. Today's presenters, like I said, I myself am Rob Moore. I am Director of Sales and Customer Success at Suitebriar. I've actually been with the organization now for just about 7 years and done a little bit of everything over that time there with deployments and workspace admin and project management and deployments and blah, 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 blah. So it's been a heck of a journey and I've learned a lot of things along the way. So I bring a lot of experience into my client discussions. Andrew Fantoni is our Technical Services Director. Andrew, do you want to do a quick intro? Oh, I don't hear you. No worries. And then Michael Kim, we have on the line as well from Google. He is the global channel partner marketing expert that we've brought in today. He's got a ton of experience with the AI product, especially the rollout's been happening oh so quick. We had a great chance to catch up yesterday, and he's got a lot of great things on the horizon as well coming up. So very excited to hear about all of that as well. Michael, you have anything you want to say?
Oh, thanks for the introduction, Rob, and happy to be part of the webinar today with the Suitebriar team, and excited to showcase Gemini for Workspace to the audience. So thanks.
Excellent. Thanks, Michael, for joining us.
Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yeah, I got you, Andrew. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. Andrew Fantoni. Thanks for the introduction, Rob. I'm the Technical Services Director here at Suitebriar. I've been with the organization now for a few years, and I've been working in the Google Cloud ecosystem for just over a decade now. A lot of my work was directly related to Workspace, implementation, and design. And so happy to be here and just our services around Gemini and leading the demo there.
Excellent. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to it. The demonstration is super amazing to see. And I know everyone's excited about the AI stuff, right? Everything, everywhere you look right now is AI. It's popping up in places you don't expect it to see it at all. I think everyone expects to see it in all the SaaS tools and things like that, but it's definitely creeping its way into all aspects of society. So we're going to start off with why Google for Gen AI overall. And when I think about it in general, I break it down to three major concepts, right? Data security, user familiarity with the product, and then overall simple deployment for admins. I've been working with admins at enterprise size companies for a very long time now. And one of the biggest headaches is always going to be, what's the deployment look like? What does the adoption look like? And is it going to be secure when we do it? So first and foremost, if you're not totally familiar, a lot of concepts get thrown around these days. Generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that helps humans create content. So we're talking about text, we're talking about images, When you look at this is going to enable a whole new era of work, right? And I was kind of thinking about what this might actually entail and the different things that it might actually encompass in taking over from our day-to-day activities. And you start to think about like, what were computers doing 40 years ago, 50 years ago? Digital folders were a crazy concept, right? So I think about along those lines and how it's going to develop in with the AI technologies. So Google Workspace has over 3 billion users, including over 10 million paying customers across the globe. What that means is the product is tried, it's tested, it is secure, people are familiar with it, and in fact, people choose it time and time again. So if you have gone to college or high school, and certainly in the United States, and definitely in a bunch of other countries as well, over the last 20 years, you've almost certainly been using Google products through that experience. And so what we're finding through studies is that the new generation, they strongly prefer Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets over the traditional productivity tool compared in the other markets. So Google is an industry in this pioneer as well. AI is not brand new. It's not something that they picked up yesterday. They have been working on this on some level, going all the way back to 2015. And there are a lot of different LLMs. There are a lot of different things it's discussing on this slide. The point I want to really focus in on is the responsible piece, because a lot of focus, especially in industry and an enterprise, is this responsible? How is my data being handled? Is this going to be beneficial to my users? So this is built, tested for safety. They're using scientific standards while they're doing all of this, making sure it's socially beneficial, trying not to make anything here that is going to be harmful, right? Google Workspace is architected differently from legacy providers. This is right from the get-go. Google has always been a cloud-native, zero-trust architecture, meaning that things that you have built into your Google consoles today, such as context-aware access, the digital loss prevention, things like that, have been the forefront of the security policies across Google Workspace since the get-go. The web and the mobile apps, the technical digital sovereignty controls, all built into Google's global infrastructure across the board. So if you have ever felt worried about Google security in the past, which I cannot imagine, it's certainly not a time to start now. How we are protecting your Google Workspace data, I'm going to let Andrew go into this a little bit more detail, but just a couple of high points here. Your data is your data. Your privacy is protected. They're not using it to market anything, right? This is all staying inside of your individual experience. And again, I'll let Andrew go into that in some more depth here in just a second. So what is Gemini for Google Workspace? Andrew, I'll kick it over to you, man.
Cool. Thanks, Rob. And again, thanks to everyone for being here today. So yeah, what exactly is Gemini for Google Workspace? We can kind of start from the beginning here and take a look at Google Workspace as a productivity platform and the introduction of that into the market. That was really transformative, right? It effectively changed and introduced the digital workplace to businesses. And now we have that same platform, which has allowed us to collaborate in real time on any device from anywhere with anyone in our works, to being able to collaborate with AI. So Gemini for Workspace has been embedded across those same Google Workspace productivity tools that we're used to using: Gmail, Docs, Sheets, Slides. And we're seeing Gemini and it transform the way that we write, we visualize, organize, and connect with our peers in more meaningful ways. Essentially, Gemini is there to help us write, to help us refine or create a framework for something that we're writing up within an email or within Google Docs. It's there to help us create powerful images through very simple prompting in our presentations and our meetings. It's there to help us organize, to help us analyze our data and act on it more quickly, organize it in such a way that we can put it in front of our stakeholders and key decision makers and expedite the decision-making process. And last, it's there to help us connect. So Gemini really helps us to look and sound our best so that we can focus on collaboration and really interacting with our peers. A recent McKinsey study also found that there are 6 functions that make up 75% of the value of GenAI. Google's consistently seen through its early adopters of Gemini that there's huge value in 3 of those 6 spaces: sales, marketing, and customer service. Within sales, we're seeing AEs and sales folks be able to create personalized content, summarize meetings, and really draft up frameworks for key pre-sales and sales material that would otherwise bog them down. We're seeing within marketing efficient content creation with images being brought to life through text in project plans, track its presentations, and meeting notes. And then on the customer service front, we're really seeing real-time translations help with language proficiency barriers, as well as unique tools like chatbots to help expedite the customer service experience. Kind of jogging back to Rob's original idea around data privacy and governance, it's been there, and Workspace is the backbone of everything that runs within Gemini. If we start on the left hand of this slide, you'll see that a user simply inputs a prompt that's contained within the customer data boundary, where they only have access to the materials that they have access to today. So if you're on the access control list, the ACL for a document that you're trying to reference in, say, a Google Doc and using Gemini, if I don't have access to that item today, I won't have access because I prompted Gemini to look into it either. Moving from that customer boundary into the trust boundary, there are a few areas to highlight here. First off, most important, Gemini doesn't store your prompts or any of the generated response that it gives to your end users. In fact, it doesn't use any of that data, the prompts, or the responses to train or improve Gemini or any of the other Google models. It simply runs your prompt and generates a response for you. Kind of jogging back to that idea of it working on Google's infrastructure already, it does exist in the same space as Google Workspace core applications like Gmail, Docs, Sheets, and Slides. Once we have that tailored response, we move back into the security controls that take place within the customer data boundary, and we can see that Gemini automatically applies existing security controls and data handling practices that you have configured within your console, such as existing DLP rules or data region policies. Once that prompt has been given to the end user, we end with the fact that Gemini doesn't share that prompt or any of the generated responses with other users in your organization or the organization itself. It's there within your user session. It's there for the user and nobody else. So we'll go ahead and pass it back to Rob, and he can talk about some of the ways that Suitebriar can help around your implementation of Gemini.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of the things that we have developed here at Suitebriar. Some of this is going to be available just with the purchase of the Gemini licenses. Obviously, there's going to be some factors to consider there as far as how many we're purchasing and things like that. But just as an idea, the Suitebriar Gemini for Workspace deployment packages that exist today will include user selection guidance. So one of the first things that IT admins have questions about is, where do we want to try and apply this first? Do we want to just hit our sales team exclusively? What we're finding is that we really want to find folks across different verticals, across different job functions within the organization. So we'll help you to identify who would be a great pilot group for this. We can help with the license assignment, so you don't have to worry about being burdened with any of that. During that process, we can help with Google group creation, so you can have easy communication distribution and policy adjustments across the admin console. We'll include a communication package, so a product announcement for your employees, a getting started guide, and prompts pointers, because one thing that we're going to learn going forward today and certainly into the future is that it is all about the wording and the prompts that you're using there. If you were at Google Next and you were able to get your hands on one of these guys, this is a great resource. There's a digital copy. We'll be happy to help folks get their hands on as well, but a wonderful resource and all too important. There's actually folks getting degrees in this already. So An introductory training session, which includes basics for each application. So not a deep dive, but a little bit of Gmail, a little bit of Docs, a little bit of Sheets, a little bit of Slides, so people are familiar with what's available today. And that would all be included with just the deployment package. So that is one of the ways that Suitebriar can help. But additionally, available Gemini services and things that could be considered as possible add-ons if you do the deployment, or if you're looking for more of a proof of concept, more of a lead in, if you have a larger scale business and you want to actually try and have a proper 30-day, 60-day rollout where people are actually getting adjusted to it, etc., change management and whatnot, then we can include workspace transformation labs. So where does this fit in my organization? How can we use these tools today to actually show return on value? AI Power Boost, why words matter. Again, how to create a good prompt. A deep dive session on that for our power users is probably going to be an ideal way to spend a couple of bucks, quite frankly, to make sure you're getting your investment out of it. Additional trainings, if you want deep dives by application specific, if there's somebody that's only in Gmail or only in Docs or only in Slides, we can do more focused training on those. Google Cloud Platform evaluations and workshops. If you're looking to evaluate Vertex AI, if you're looking to evaluate Gemini for Google Cloud, by all means, we have the resources in-house as well to try and take this outside of just your productivity tools and into your production, into your actual product. So happy to have those discussions as well. Cloud readiness evaluation. Is too much data really too much? Maybe, probably, kind of, sort of. It might be a good time to evaluate cleaning some of the things that have just been collecting cobwebs in your digital data centers before you actually try and do a full AI implementation, and we can help with that evaluation. Adoption assistance and productivity sessions post-deployment. Obviously, we want to make sure we're not just dropping it off in your lap, giving you a training and then running away. So things to consider there. And then one of the areas that we've seen the most success is hosted cross-organizational brainstorming sessions. So I can throw out all kinds of ideas about, what might work for marketing and what might work for sales, but the people in your marketing department, the people in your sales department know what they're doing on the day-to-day, and being able to find places where they're having successes and failures using the tools and just having an open dialogue about that can be a very valuable asset. So just a couple of ideas for how we can help with the actual rollout and deployment adoption of these services. But I will turn it over to Andrew here for what I'm sure everyone is most excited to see, the demonstration for Gemini for Google Workspace.
All right. Thanks again, Rob. So what I built here is a story to help guide us through an individual's journey of how they may leverage Gemini across the Google Workspace productivity platform, right? We'll traverse across using Gmail, Docs, Sheets, and Slides. And we'll also end on taking a look at the more conversation piece in gemini.google.com. But the story that we've built here is really centered around our friend Harvey. And Harvey is not your average project coordinator. He works for an organization based out of Portland, Oregon, known as Very Nice Blends. They're a juice bar, and Harvey is proud to represent them. He is there to help bridge communication silos and deliver projects with enthusiasm and an attention to detail. Harvey is a Portland native through and through. He embodies the collaborative spirit of Very Nice Blends, and he's always looking to work with everyone across the organization, be it on the retail space floor or working in the boardroom, trying to figure out the next project to succeed on. Now, as Very Nice Blends prepares to unveil their new exciting tropical fruits juice line, Harvey's at the helm, really looking to leverage the power of Google Workspace Gemini AI to streamline this process, ensure seamless collaboration across all of the teams that would be involved, and ensure another successful product introduction of Very Nice Blends into the US market. So Harvey has really summarized this down into 3 key points that he'd like to succeed on across this work. The first is improving internal communication, project management efficiency, and ensuring that the data stays organized for their product launch. He plans to do so by crafting a strong project plan that is well communicated across all of the teams involved. And third, we'll look to define what success looks like and track all of the successes through the teams that are involved with this work. Now, many of us can relate to this type of workload that Harvey has, and we may have felt like this is a really tough task. There's a lot to do here, and we may be impacted by one or many of these things that we see within the bubbles here. Well, let's go ahead and help Harvey and see how we can really streamline this process and crank out quite a bit of work in terms of the organization. So step one will be focused on using Google Gmail and helping Harvey to draft an initial email that will serve as the project announcement. Here, he'll provide clear and engaging details for the entire project, what everyone is meant to do, the teams involved, key dates, and other key information. Second step, after the product launch announcement, he'll want to create a project plan that organizes all of the project tasks into a blueprint. He'll cover all aspects of the launch, including the timelines, the roles of the individuals that may be involved here, and the deliverables for each of the phases. Step three, perhaps my favorite of the three to display. He's looking to create unique and visually appealing graphics within Google Slides that would be informative, representative of the brand, and showcasing some of the packaging that will be a part of the launch. And step four, once the product launch is actually live, we'll want to ensure that Harvey has a strong tracking system to take a look at things like inventory, sales, marketing, and social media engagement. All right, let me go ahead and flip my screen here. And what everyone should be seeing is we're starting in Gmail and helping Harvey craft his first product announcement email. So in this example, we'll work through a couple of prompts. The first one that we're looking at here is for Harvey to compose a detailed and inspiring project announcement email for Very Nice Blends' new product launch. I'm going to go ahead and take this prompt and drop it into Gemini, where it can effectively create a framework that Harvey then can use and rewrite to sort of meet the needs that he has for this particular email. Very quickly, we see Gemini return something that we can use, but I'm going to kind of attach to something that Rob had brought up earlier, in that there is power in prompting and being as detailed as possible in what I would like for that prompt to build out. We did ask for a detailed and inspiring project announcement, but it is missing some of the key details that Harvey would like to use. So I have a second prompt here that has a few more of those details that I'd like to see included. Now we're going to draft an announcement email for Very Nice Blends' Tropical Fruits Juice line. That launch detailing objectives, key dates, such as the launch on November 20th, any departmental roles that may be involved here, and I'd like to also have Harvey work through initial steps. So we'll again hit the help me right here. We'll drop in our prompt and create, and very quickly, Gemini will return a much better output that includes some of those details. So we see the objectives that are there. It's even included some bracketed dates for key launch dates that we may need to consider, the departments that would be involved in this operation, and some next steps for the team to know where we're going post-launch. This is pretty darn close to something that I would actually use within an email. If I don't say, like the way this looks, there are various ways to refine this as well. I can actually select recreate, and very quickly it will recreate the message, kind of move things around or change the tone of the email. If generally speaking I like this, I can also work through some more minor tweaking in either refining through formalizing the text, elaborating and expanding on what I already have there, or shortening it so that it's not overwhelming to my team. If I like it as is, then I can say, yep, Gemini, great suggestion. This is something that matches how I like to work, how I like to word things. I'd like for my prompts to be like this moving forward. I can then insert, ensure that I select my right recipients, inject a subject line, and fire this off. So now that Harvey has worked through his product launch announcement email, he'll want to get started on a project plan. And the next prompt that I have here is simply to create a plan for this launch line, outlining pre-launch, launch, and post-launch activities, which tasks and deadlines need to be met across the various teams. And I've included more of a timeline that I can actually use. So I'll go ahead and cut this out, select my Gemini prompt, paste this in, and create. So one of the things that I had mentioned is that this creates a great framework for us to work off of. Now, while I might not use this as an actual project plan, it has given me some ideas as to how I can use a project plan to help create some focus and organization across my organization for cross collaboration. I didn't have to spend the time to write this. I simply needed to input a prompt and I got a full page of detail that I can then use for my plan. Now that Harvey has his plan, he'd like to create some appealing graphics that would be representative of the brand, very nice blends, and also put on display some of the packaging that may be considered. I don't necessarily have, or Harvey doesn't necessarily have the time, the resources, perhaps the equipment, the people, or the packaging ready to go. And if this is a tight deadline, being able to create these images with Gemini simply through a text input helps to greatly reduce the amount of work that Harvey is investing in this type of task. So what I have here is a very detailed description of the images that I'd like to have created. Simply a 3D rendering of the tropical fruits juice line packaging, some infographics on health benefits, a timeline graphic of the rollout, and a demographic reach map highlighting target areas in Portland. Now, that may be a lot. It may capture some of it. It's going to capture the majority of it. Some other things that I may suggest just playing with the images that I believe Gemini does a great job of succeeding at is if you are an expert in this space, especially in something like photography, in marketing, you can use photography keywords like how the lighting should look or the type of camera that you would like to use. I would like to use, a digital SLR and ensure that I am shooting this with real studio lighting and a model that may be holding the bottle. Using a prompt like that is just as powerful as the one that I've crafted here. It's just a point that I'd like to highlight if you'd like to cater to a specific style. Beyond that, Google has also defined some styles for you to play around with if you'd like to accentuate some of the graphics that you're creating there. But after hitting create, it says it takes about 20 seconds. It usually moves a little quicker than that, but Harvey's then able to take some of these graphics and put them in his slideshow presentation to use perhaps for a stakeholder meeting where we want to create quick graphics to market our product launch. These are quite beautiful. They are 3D renderings. They do have the Very Nice Blends sort of logo on there with some fruit and some demographic or infographic packaging information. Boom, Harvey's done with this task. He can now move on to the next one. We'll be looking to create some supporting collateral for the go live effort of launching this new tropical fruit juice line. So what I have here is our last prompt, and it says construct a Google Sheet for the juice line to weekly inventory levels in each state, sales figures by store, and social media engagement metrics, all for real-time visualization. Now, one of the things that I really get bogged down in Google Sheets is just sort of the formatting, making things look pretty or presentable, being able to add things like conditional formatting, perhaps drop-down menus, using things like smart chips, so and so. And within the time frame of me just thinking about all of the work that I needed to do there, simply by inputting the prompt and allowing Gemini to do the work, I can see that I actually have a pretty decent spreadsheet here that includes exactly what I asked for. It's got some filtering that's included there, some conditional formatting in alternating colors, as well as tracking all of the key sort of social media platforms that I'd like to track against. So again, this provides a very strong framework. It may not be completely in tune with where we want to get, but this definitely minimizes the amount of time that I would otherwise spend on creating this type of spreadsheet. Within minutes, Harvey was able to accomplish 4 of the tasks quite quickly. It is just one of the great ways that Gemini makes working within Workspace even more efficient of a process. The last thing that I'll look to highlight here is the conversation side of Gemini. And the key piece that I'll call out as something that is different with the user engagement in the core applications versus conversation is that you'll notice that I wasn't necessarily able to iterate through my prompts. I actually had to go back into the prompt with Gmail, for example, and edit it and then recall and reaction the response from Gemini. With the conversation side of things, I can work through iterations and then include this information back into the core suite of applications. So now that we've gone through and done our product launch with Harvey on the tropical fruits juice line, I'm thinking, okay, what are other ways that I can engage marketing and sales or perhaps CSS to ensure that this product is trending and that it is attaching to the same momentum that the launch is occurring within? Perhaps Harvey wants to focus on social media engagement and ensuring that things like blogs, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook are updated, and I can perhaps garner the attention of, say, influencers. So Harvey is looking to generate 5 blog posts that center around fresh fruit and juices, and 10 social media posts. And we can start with something very simple like this, right? It's likely going to return something fairly generic, which then I can take some of those points and fine tune it to get to where I want to be, right? So it's going to generate some blog posts that I may perhaps want to use, right? Just thinking as this is typing out and providing me with some information, I may want to refine this post, right? And say, you know, I actually like this first blog post, Jumpstart Your Day with Vibrant Juices. I like the first blog post. I would like for it to be expanded into a full one-pager. Be sure to include information that is specific to tropical fruits and their benefits, as well as centers around the target market of Portland, Oregon, within the age group of, let's say, 18 to 30, right? So not only is it going to go back in my first prompt, but it's going to take that first blog post, it's going to expand it into a full one-pager, it's going to have an audience that it speaks to, and it's going to focus on areas of fruit, tropical fruits, and their benefits. So now I have this wonderful first blog post that I can use. One of the great things that I will also show off here within the conversation piece of this is similar to refining, shortening, elaborating within Gmail. I can actually look within Gemini specific to things like blog posts and take a look at different drafts that Gemini has crafted if I don't like this first one. It is struggling a little bit there, so there we go. I can take a look at the different drafts that it's posted as well, and perhaps even use one of these. Kind of going back to the iterative process here and taking a look at some of these social media posts that it's speaking to, I may ask for Gemini to then, based on the blog post I have written above, create a social media post that relates to it. Be sure to suggest a few photo ideas that I can use, a strong caption I can type, and key hashtags. Now, this is really just one example of Harvey working with someone, say, in marketing through creation, but you can see that, again, it provides a very strong framework or even content that I can use outright within social media and be engaging different teams across my organization to complete these tasks. So conversation side of Gemini, also incredibly powerful. I can rate it just the same. Down here, I can take a look at modifying my responses. Unlike working through the core applications, I can't iterate the same way, but I can through here. I can share and export this and also take a look at double checking my responses to see the validity and the source information related to how it gathered this information. That about wraps up Gemini within the Workspace tools as well as conversation. At this point, I believe I will go ahead and pass it back over to Rob. You're muted, Rob.
Thank you, Andrew. Does everyone have my screen back up? I just want to make sure we're centered back up there. Good to go? Okay, perfect. So first and foremost, that was a great demo, Andrew. I just want to say there are some other aspects, obviously features that are available inside of like Google Meet, such as the live time translations that are included with the AI, studio lighting, the effects that you see behind me right now are all AI produced, so you can actually enter things in there.
Rob, could you reshare your screen out?
Oh,
I don't think it's updating.
Okay, yeah, 1 second, man.
There we go.
No. I am presenting to the meeting.
Yeah. The screen just wasn't refreshing. Thanks.
Gotcha. All right, so like I was saying, there are a lot of different features available inside of like Meet that we didn't go over. We were looking primarily at the collaboration tools and things like that. So like the live translation, the augmented backgrounds, the increased studio lighting, studio sound, etc. So we'll look into some of that here in just a moment. I was curious to see, Michael, just after having seen that demo and having seen a number of other demos, right? I'm sure over the last couple of months here, are there any features that you think are super worth bringing up that maybe we just haven't identified as of yet on this presentation today?
No, I was just going to comment as well. Andrew, excellent demo. Almost exactly how we see our customers as well as ourselves use it today. So really the opportunity to supercharge your productivity, whether it's to start drafting and getting work started, or being able to refine some of the work and content that you have. And I think it's extremely important to actually see the the demo or seeing Gemini in action versus sort of reading or hearing about it. So I think you really touched on a lot of the great pieces there. The one that I think is extremely fascinating and we continue to evolve on is that Gemini chat, and being able to not just refine your questions and have it go deeper into whether it's the details of campaigns or elaborating on addressable markets. That's something that we're extremely excited to continue to use in our work today.
Yeah, absolutely. Great points. We had some really good conversations yesterday about how Gemini in enterprise and massive organizations, and how you're going to judge the value versus how you would judge it in, say, an organization with 5 individuals, right? And just the ability to be able to add subject level experts. I mean, there are companies that hire people just for social media posts now. There are people that are hired just to take those photographs, right? You can purchase a Gemini license and be able to produce those same kinds of results for your small business without having to go out and actually hire a bunch of new folks. And so it can be transformative for the SMBs as well. So moving forward now, there were a couple of announcements made at Google Next in regards to a couple of new SKUs for the Gemini packages. So initially we had Gemini Enterprise exclusively, which has everything across the board. This year, or this last April, like 2 weeks ago, they announced the AI security add-on and the AI meetings and messaging add-on. So one of the things we've heard the most interest in is the Google Meet piece, where you can have live transcriptions, action items can be assigned to folks. It's actually going to take those notes. Very soon on the roadmap, they've got things like attend a meeting for me, where you can actually send questions in and have it go ahead and ask those in your absence and then respond back to you and things like that. So all kinds of new things coming down the pipe as well. But the biggest thing to take away from this is we understand, obviously, AI isn't going to be a one-size-fits-all solution. And so if you've got a large organization and some folks just aren't going to be heavy in the collaboration tools, the productivity tools, but maybe they really need that data security piece because they're an admin, something along those lines, then you have those options available now. So please reach out to Suitebriar. We'll be able to walk you through all of the different options available and things like that, and really talk you through what each of these packages looks like. It wouldn't be a proper webinar if we didn't throw up a few of our satisfied customers from over the last year. So Gemini has been tested by thousands of organizations. Even prior to its release, obviously, there were a lot of folks involved in large organizations across the world in testing these features out and making sure they work and giving feedback and things like that. So just a handful of companies you've probably heard of in the past that are using it. And then just one last thought I want to leave everyone with before we get into our Q&A portion here is GenAI has the potential to change the anatomy of work, augmenting the capabilities of individual workers by automating some of their individual activities. Focus in on that piece, automating some of their individual activities, because that's where you're going to see 60 to 70% of the employees' time being saved down the road through these tools that we're discussing. Right? We are at the forefront right now. People are just beginning to understand how to utilize this. Things that are coming down the pipe, like being able to share prompts with one another, with teams, being able to, instead of just having to come with all of your own thoughts and ideas, being able to share those internally with other folks that do the same job. All of that is going to make everyone's lives a heck of a lot easier, especially with the tedious stuff. So just a final thought, like I said, and I will kick it over to our friend Jake for questions.
Thanks, Rob. We do have a few questions coming through on our live stream viewers. The first one was from Mark, and he wanted to know, is Gemini available to Canadian Google Workspace customers?
Hey, Jake. I'll take that. Yeah, absolutely. Available to Canadian Workspace customers. Excited to have the Gemini for Google Workspace, both enterprise and business, alongside the AI security and AI meetings and messaging SKUs, all available in Canada as well.
Just a follow up to that, Mike. I believe I saw it somewhere. Is French available for that for the Canadian users as well as English?
So French will be coming down the road. Today it is English only, but it does interact in French. I would say that the quality or level that we're looking for will be there in the coming months. But today we don't have it as refined as we do on the English side. But you definitely can use some of the prompts within French, but it is today just in English.
Great. Thank you. The next question we have is from Patricia. It was asked, can Gemini use an email, spreadsheet, or other document to create a new one based on the existing data? For example, service proposal, including prices from an existing price list.
I'll start. I don't know, Andrew, if you've had the experience on that, but absolutely. The intention is that you would be able to pull sources from your drive, from any of the documents that you use today. I think we touched on the fact that it is, based on the access that you have. And so being able to pull the data through to create a single source, or to be able to add more details to, let's say, a pricing proposal, is something that Gemini is capable of.
Yeah, and I'll kind of add to what Mike said there. The feature is up and coming, being able to tag other documents or emails or spreadsheets and work through it that way. The examples that we saw at Next that hopefully we'll be able to demonstrate for you very soon here is just the ability to call, right, multiple documents that may be related to a project, call it 3 or 4. Those are documents that have 50 to 60 pages each, right? Create a summary based on these 4 sources and output an action item list with the people that have been tagged to these tasks, right? Being able to then take that summary document that captured the 4 original documents and say, write an email that tags that summary, is just an expedited workflow, right? So it's not available today through the licensing. It may be, and don't quote me on this, be available through the labs and trusted tester at this point, but it's not officially released. It is coming. It's something that we are very excited that is coming, and I think a lot of users will be too.
And I'll just add on one last thing there as a workaround before to the point where you can actually add the documents directly in. You can still just upload the entire document into Google Docs and ask it for a summary or ask it to do any of those things that you're trying to accomplish there. You just can't add the document in right now. So that's really the piece we're waiting on.
Yep. There are workarounds to it. You can copy paste the content. You can still grab URLs, images, videos, and work through AI Studio as well to get summaries of that content.
Summarize a YouTube video is that's pretty impressive. There's things like that I never even considered as an option. So I thought that was a really cool one. Mike, did you have anything you wanted to add there? I thought you...
No, I was going to say, something that we're extremely excited to have come out in the next coming months. So definitely have made it publicly, as an announcement, but we are looking forward to having that finally generally available to all our customers in the next few months.
Awesome, thanks.
I'm not seeing any other YouTube questions at this point, but there are a couple other questions that we received as well, just through email that I can address here. One of them was around verifying the authenticity of responses. So really, what does Google do to prove out what Gemini or any of its other models are churning out in terms of a response? There are a few things that Google does, and there are a few things that users can do as well, right? The first is benchmarking. Google tests Gemini against a number of academic benchmarks just to ensure that the language models are being assessed for accuracy and performance. There's safety evaluations. There is also adversarial testing, where Google employs different techniques with adversarial testing in real-world scenarios where it might be misused. And then the user verification checks kind of demoed a little bit, but being able to double check the response feature. That's the Google icon. And it just turns out, right, double check response. And it effectively uses Google search to find content that supports or contradicts the responses that Gemini is churning out, and also highlights them based on their validity across a different range of colors. And then the second piece of that is human feedback. The study that Google did internally with partners to improve Gemini and its responsiveness, this was a key piece of this. And it's definitely one of the ways that you as an end user will get quality responses. And it's simply by saying, yes, this is a good response that I will use, or no, this isn't quite what I'm looking for. Google's then able to refine, right, and ensure that the responses that Gemini is putting out align with the type of language that you use, as well as the content that you'd like to see for it to be producing. There is one other question here as well around personal information. I think it's a great question. Just does Gemini have access to my personal account? Effectively, the answer is no. There are a number of reasons why. There is the privacy policy that explicitly states that it doesn't collect or store your personal information. There's isolation, anonymized data, right? It uses conversations with Gemini for improvement, but they're anonymized and stripped of any personal identifiable information, any PII, before it's being churned out. It's being reviewed before being provided to you. And then last, you also have user control, right? You ultimately have control over everything that you're doing within Gemini. You can choose to either save those conversations. You can also access them retroactively and delete the interaction history out of your activity section of your Google account. We can go ahead and check here if there are any other questions in YouTube. I don't believe there are.
Looking good?
I believe so. So perhaps we'll just do one last call out over the next minute to see if any other questions come up in our live stream. And if not, then we can go ahead and wrap this up.
Whoa. Just went into the tunnel there.
The infamous infinite tunnel of Google Meet.
The
Yes.
infinite tunnel here. Let me pop this guy up. I'll just share it a different way. Where do I want to go? This guy. Nope.
Maybe just one last
Wouldn't
thing.
you know, we get to the last. Sorry, Mike, go ahead. I was gonna say, wouldn't you know, we get to the last slide.
Yeah, no, I think one thing that's going to be exciting about Gemini, as we see, and both Rob and Andrew, you mentioned, is just seeing how individuals and organization is going to be implementing it. We're really at this infancy today, and we talk about the productivity gains, as well as the quality of work that's going to come out. Sort of taking away that repetition and having a certain level of skill set that individuals will be able to build themselves on, and ultimately just innovative ways that are super exciting to see, both individuals and businesses as a whole bring to the forefront. So that's where I'm really excited about. As a marketer, it's going to be all these different use cases, and we're really going to be able to highlight those in the coming months as more and more people adopt Gemini, which again goes without saying from our side that really the fastest way that individuals and organization can benefit and adopt generative AI is through Gemini. And I truly believe that, given that it's already there within your workspace environment. It's just now having that one extra step, or even having the thought of being able to go and using the prompts and taking that step up from you starting from scratch.
Absolutely. And I would add on there, like, for folks that are worried about people that maybe haven't had experience with these things, these are available in the consumer world by and large right now. You can go to gemini.google.com and use this for your own personal exploration. Where and why this doesn't want to be your solution for your enterprise or business is because those are not going to be private data, right? You're going to be putting your data into the ethosphere and letting it be used to train models, whether that's ChatGPT or the Gemini solution or any of the others. And so folks are familiarizing themselves with these tools, and as they understand how much easier it can make their lives, if you're not giving them the solution, they're going to go find one. And so it's something that you definitely want to keep in the forefront of your mind as an IT admin, especially with security and data leakage and those soft spots of your security posture, potentially becoming an issue going forward with this. So please let us be the AI solution that keeps all of those things locked down and keeps your users using the right tools in the right places at the right times. Yeah, that's all I've got. I appreciate everyone's time. Thanks so much, Jake, Andrew, Michael, for taking some time out of your day. I thoroughly appreciate everyone's contributions here. I hope that everyone was able to get a lot of good information out of it. I imagine there's going to be lots of questions. I have included some details here for you to be able to reach out to us. Obviously, we'll have plenty of follow-ups. And like I said, we'll be posting this to our YouTube channel shortly. So thank you, everyone, for taking some time out on your Wednesday. See you guys later.
Thanks for having me, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Mike.
All right, take care.